In this lecture, I will go over the object-oriented programming design process. Before we can write object, a programmer must design the object. The programmer decide what attributes and method an object will need. We use abstraction to extract the object, attribute, and method from the problem statement. The programmer writes a class, and the class specifies the attribute and method an object can have. Again, you can think of a class as a blueprint for an object. You can use a class to create as many objects as needed. An object created from the class is said to be an instance of the class. And also, an object will have all the methods and attributes defined by the class from which it is created. And recall, I said before, think of the class as a factory for making objects. Let's look at example. Circle. Your requirement is um, a circle object. And when you think about circle, what property does a circle have? And what can you do with a circle? Implementation and test. This is going back to the software design, uh, software development lifecycle. So what property does a circle have? Whenever you think about circle, what one thing you would think of? Well, a circle can be described with radius. Plus, a radius is a property of a circle object. You can find the circumference and area of a circle. Plus, the circumference and area are circle object method. So I can create the constructor with radius, and I can create two methods, circumference and area. Notice that I use math.py for the pi constant. So here is my circle class, and I can run this, and you can see when I print the circle object, I print the memory location again. I create a circle with radius of 10, and the circumference is 62.82, and the area is 314.159. So I want you to try. Let's add a setter method to change the radius property, arc method to the circle class that calculate the arc of a circle with degree angle. Add a diameter method and add a string, override the string method to display the circle radius. So let's do this one by one here. So we want to add set radius method that we can update the new radius. So I can update the radius of the circle to the new radius. I can also have, let's say, a diameter method which return the diameter of a circle. What is the diameter of a circle? How do you find the diameter of a circle? Well, the diameter of a circle is 2 times the radius. What about the arc? The arc of a circle? Well, if you look at the circle, which I can draw over here, if you look at the circle, let's just say I want to have a 90 degree. So this would be a 90-degree arc. So 90 degree is about 1/4, right, of a circle. So how do I find the length of this arc? Well, if I know the circumference of the circle, circumference of a circle. If I know the circumference times the degree in arc divided by 360, because this is just a portion of a circle. How many portions depend on your degree over 360. If a 90 degree is a 1/4, 180 degree is a half, 1 degree will be like 1 over 360. So I can create the arc given the degree, and I can create this by calculating the circumference. And how do I calculate the circumference? By calling the circumference method. I get the circumference times the degree divided by 360. And finally, the string method. In this case, I just want to display the radius. Maybe I just say radius is plus self dot radius. I'm using a string. So now, let me just run this up. Self.radius is not a string, so I need to convert that into a string. That's what the error means, right? The self.array is a number, so I cannot add number to a string. So now, radius is 10. Do you remember earlier print C, you print the memory location? Now you print radius is 10, and the circumference and area. So let's add print the diameter C dot diameter, and I can also print arc, maybe 90 degree arc is, so I can call the arc method and pass in 90 degree. And why don't I change the radius from 10 to say 20, and let me just print the diameter so you know this has been changed. Well, actually, I can also, instead of a diameter, I can just do print C to show the new radius. You can see that the diameter is 20 and the 90 degree arc is 15.70. Notice that this is the whole circle circumference, and 90 degree arc would be 1/4, and 1/4 of a 62.8 is 15.7. And I change the radius to 20. When I print the radius, now you print 20. And now you might think, yeah, that's pretty easy, right? So why don't we do another example? You are tasked to design a program to process course information. Each course has a course name and has student enrolled. You should be able to add or drop a student to or from the course. You can also list all the students enrolled in the course by the order they are entered, as well as by their names alphabetically, and display number of students. Can you extract the object, the properties, and method from this statement here? Well, the object would be the course, right? The object would be the course, and the course has course name and student enroll. How would you model the student? Well, I can use list to model the student. I have a list of students. And because I have a list, I should be able to add and drop student from the list. So let's tackle this together. So I will create a course object. And I will just start with the constructor. The course have a name. Oops. So I will have a pass in the course name, for example. And I will initialize a students list to empty list. Why? When I create this course, there's no student enrolled yet. And I can use incremental development. In this case, I can create, say, for example, I just create a course called ITET 136 equal to course and pass in and I can run this. Of course, it will do nothing yet because I haven't called anything. And I can have like a getter method to get the course name. I can also have add student. And in this case, I have a student name. So how do I add a student to the course? What data is holding the student? In this case, this student list is holding the student. So I want to add, for example, self.student. This is the variable holding the student dot append student name. I want to do something like this, but I want to catch in case this student already enrolled in this class. I don't want to add the same student again. So how do I check whether if student is enrolled in this class already? Well, it's very easy to check. I can use, remember the in and not in? If student name not in self.student, if the student name is not in the student list, then I add it. And how would you say, for example, a student drop a class? I just have a student name. How would you drop or remove a student from the student list? Well, you want to do something like this then. Self.students, students a list, remove. You want to remove the student. Do you see how intuitive it is? I want to remove a student from the student list, but I only want to do this if student in the student list. And I can try this here. I can do, for example, I can add some student to the class. So I can say add student maybe John. Let me add another student. Adam. And I'll do one more. Let's see. How about Jamie? And if I run this, yeah, you still do nothing. Well, you did a lot of things, but we did not display anything, so it looked like it did not do anything. So one of the thing the course you can do is display the student. The student is a list. So how do I display the student? So let's create a method called display student. In this method, you know, I can say print student enrolls are. So how do I print each student line by line? To print each student line by line, student is a list, so it's natural to use for loop for student, which is singular, in self.students, which is plural. For every student in the student list, I want to print the student. So now, if I say I tag 136.display student, I add a method. Now you can see student enrolled are John, Adam, and Jamie. Another method was show the display the student alphabetically. So this is the student order that they are entered to the course. So let's add display student alphabetically. Let's see, student enroll. Let's call alphabetically. And I can do the same thing, right, for student. So before I do that, I can, for example, sort the student, and then I could do what I did earlier for student in self.student print student. And I can test this again, and I will test the new one I just added. I tag 136.display student alphabetically, and I will put a print statement in between, kind of breaking the line here. And I want to show you something. I make a mistake. Display the student alphabetically, Adam, Jamie, and John. That's good, but earlier, if you recall earlier, the student enroll show John, Adam, and Jamie. Now it show Adam, Jamie, and John alphabetically. Why is that? If you recall, the sort method will sort the list in place. In this case, the student list got sorted. If this is what you want, great. But in most cases, this is not what you want. So we want to make a clone or copy of student. Let's just say I create a local variable called student is self.student. I copy, make a copy. So now, instead of changing the student, I'm changing my local copy of the student list. And then I would call for student in student, the local variable student. And when I run this now, you can see that alphabetically, Adam, Jamie, and John, and student enroll in the order that they enroll are John, Adam, and Jamie. And because we are using list, it's pretty easy to find out how many students enroll, right? Get maybe number enroll. How many students enroll? We just return the length of the student list. But this tell me how many students are there, and they are all unique because we check for duplicate. So all the student names are unique in the student list. And finally, how do I override the string method? So the student, the course name, and the student are the important part. But I don't want to display all the student name, so I could, for example, display the course name and how many students are in it. And the course name is using string format. And let me put a different line. Number of student dot format. In this case, self dot course name and self dot let's see, number and row. So if I do, for example, I tag one print I tag 136, you will see course name I tag 136, number of student 3. Oh, I did not test it a drop, so let's test it a drop method. I tag 136 dot drop student name. In this case, let's say John, drop it. And I can display the student afterward. And so when after I drop John, the student enrolls are Adam and Jamie. And the course name I tag 136 and number of student now is 2. Take a look at how I did this. It should be very straightforward. Don't overthinking the problem. I will do a few more example during class. For example, write a class for book object with the following requirement. Book has title, author, and ISBN attributes. Add getter method to get the attribute. Override the string method to display the book object info. And then a bookstore has a collection of books. Using the book object, write a bookstore object with the following requirement. Add a book to the library, remove a book from the library, look up a book by the book title, look up a book by author, and look up a book by ISBN number. Take a look what I did with the course. See if you can apply this to it. I will go over this example during class. Thank you.